I will not lie. It was hard for me to make this decision. I want to talk about this too, about your body set weight, because that's something else that I had to adjust to. Is this body is amazing. I mean, it is going to try to maintain, and it actually has what some people call a body set weight. Hello. Welcome to Lifestyle for Living. I decided to jump on real quick to give you an update of me being off of Mounjaro for a year basically, and to tell you what I decided to do after being off Mounjaro going forward. Well, if you've been following me, you know that I actually did Mounjaro 2.5 for 3 months last year in 2023. I started around January, close to the end of January, and I took the 2.5 for 3 months, and then I actually said, hey, I'm a pre-diabetic, I'm not a diabetic. I want to see if my lifestyle changes that I've implemented will help me to continue to lose weight. Well, one of the different things that I had to learn during this past year of being off Mounjaro is by me being a pre-diabetic, by me having insulin resistance, that throws a whole nother curveball in the game. Trust me, I've lost weight before. I've been able to say, oh, implement this, lose the weight. But I will tell you, being 60 and being insulin resistant, this has been a little more challenging for me. I did what I needed to do. Now, was I 100% not eating any dessert, 100% not doing any refined carbs? No. And I really want to say, if you want to know how much weight did I gain or lose, actually when I came off the Mounjaro, I was at 190 there and abouts. I had lost 21 pounds during those 3 months that I was on it. So I had started out, let me just slow down and back up for a minute. I started out the journey of this weight loss at 225 pounds. So when I started the Mounjaro, I had already lost like about 14 pounds. I started out at 225 pounds, and I'd already lost 14 pounds prior to that just by implementing some little things. And I started Mounjaro I was at 214 pounds there and about, maybe 215, 216, something like that. And then what I did is during that whole time of the 3 months being on Mounjaro, I lost 21 additional pounds, which brought me down to 190 pounds. At that point, I was happy. I felt like, oh, I got this down pat. I don't need to keep taking this. I'm not a diabetic. I don't want to take a diabetic drug. So I wasn't one of those people who people were like, well, why are you taking a diabetic drug? Well, I was a pre-diabetic and my doctor had prescribed it for me. So I came off, and then I did a little bit of dabbling with the vegetarian style diet. I did a raw vegan for 21 days, and I got down to like 186 pounds. And then I transitioned forward. I did good during the summer after coming off the Mounjaro. As far as maintaining, I was still working out. I still wear a continuous glucose monitor, so I'll tell you more about that in a separate video of how beneficial it is to help you see how different foods impact you. Because what a lot of us have to realize, if you're insulin resistant or if you're a pre-diabetic or even a diabetic, foods impact everybody differently. And don't let anybody fool you into a certain pattern of, oh, if you eat this way, this is good. Or if you eat this way, this is good. No, I found some things that, oh yes, that does work for me. And then I found other things that somebody else may be doing and that doesn't work for me. So I actually had my 60th birthday last year. I was really excited about that. And I will tell you, from September to December, I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I wasn't watching my calories. I was still checking my weight. I was still working out. And as long as I maintained that 5-pound fluctuation between the 195, 190, I might see a 196, I was good. I'm like, cool beans. I'm maintaining. I'm not really losing, but I'm not really gaining. And then I took into account the type of workout that I do, which is strength training and cardiovascular training at a location called Burn Boot Camp. I'll talk about them later. I'm not sponsored by them or nothing, but I will tell you, if you're somebody who's looking to change your life and to see how strength training can help you and what you need to do. Trust me, as somebody who is in my age range or even younger or older, it's never too late to start, and I can show you some videos of what I looked like when I first started. So I've since been off Mounjaro, like I said, for over a year. I have gained about 6 to 7 pounds, and that's now even fluctuating. I'm seeing that 6 pounds that I've gained, which is that 196, 197, I'm seeing where I can go up 5 pounds and then come back down. So it's almost like a trend. You know, I saw the trend before where it was, okay, I maintained between the 190, 196, right? I maintained and I was good. Then now I'm seeing, and it could be partially to lifestyle, but I'm seeing I'm trending between that 196, 200. I'm like, well, that's a version that I don't want. I want to reverse it. But if I get into the science of insulin resistance, which is when you have elevated glucose levels constantly, you'll know that it's harder for you to lose weight. So what I might have did in 2019, 2018, where I was able to lose the weight and I wasn't really thinking about monitoring my glucose because I wasn't pre-diabetic or anything, I found that with my metabolism and this insulin resistance, it's harder. It's really much harder for me to see where my body's going to be. And I want to talk about this too, about your body set weight. Because that's something else that I had to adjust to, is this body is amazing. I mean, it is going to try to maintain, and it actually has what some people call a body set weight. So for me, because I was at that elevated weight around that 200 range for so many years, my body actually wants to go back to that. It's like, hey, you might try to do what you want to do, but guess what? I want to be back at that 200 because that's my body is saying that's its comfort range, right? And I can talk more about that later, about body set weight. I'll do a separate video on that. But one of the things I've found is I have to work so much harder. And I've done the intermittent fasting. In fact, honestly, for most of last year, I was eating only once a day. And while it may not have all been totally the right diet, because I have to be honest and say, okay, was I totally eating everything I needed? I was still only eating once a day, and I wasn't eating any crazy calories, but my body has gotten adjusted to that. So now when I'm trying to say, okay, I'm intermittent fasting, I'm not eating crazy, I found with my glucose monitor, depending on what I eat, oh man, if I eat a Chick-fil-A meal, that thing is going to have my glucose all over the place. I can tell you, if I eat like a Chick-fil-A sandwich, and to say, I'm in my mind going, okay, I'm only eating once. I should be able to eat this. It's still in this calorie range. Being insulin resistant and being a pre-diabetic, oh yeah, certain foods are going to impact me more. And what it's going to do is raise my glucose levels, and it's going to have them fluctuating. And that variability in your fluctuation of glucose, when you get elevated glucose and it's resistant to go into your cells and your muscles, guess what? It can turn to fat. So even though you may think, oh, I'm eating this way, I'm only eating one meal, I'm still within my calories. If you're insulin resistant and your cells and your muscles and your tissues are not receiving that glucose in, guess what? That can be stored as fat. So that's why it's harder for people who are insulin resistant to lose the weight. So what has happened is I have decided to take a journey with, guess what? Drum roll, Wegovy. Yes. I actually am about to do my 4th shot of Wegovy. And I'll have to tell you the long story of why I couldn't get on the Zepbound, because I thought, oh, I had such great success on the Mounjaro, and now that Mounjaro version has been approved by FDA by Zepbound, I thought, oh, I'm going to be able to get on the Zepbound. But my insurance company said no. even though they had previously approved me for the Mounjaro over a year ago. But with all the things and transitions and changes and everybody getting on the weight loss journey, the Zepbounds and the Wegovys and things like that, it is a lot more challenging to get the drug. I will tell you, one of the things I learned is if you watch some of my historical videos, you know about my journey with my doctor and him not wanting to prescribe me the continuous glucose monitor. I really wasn't happy about that, because I'm like, if you see it's something that's helping me, why wouldn't you still continue to give me something that would help me? But that's a horse of another color. We won't talk about that today. But I kind of want to tell you about, okay, what's happened to me after being off Mounjaro for a year. I only took it for 3 months. I decided to come off of it. I still believe that these type drugs are a tool, not the cure. I've even found with being on the Wegovy for the past 3 weeks and monitoring my continuous glucose monitor, I'm seeing things, that maybe some people may not see. I will say too, for the first 3 weeks, I have not lost the weight as quickly. Now, I will say averaging, I'm probably about 2 pounds a week that I've lost so far. So I'll talk to you about what I've done and how I've done it, but I don't want to make this video too long. So I'll do a separate video that'll tell you what was like for my week 1, week 2, week 3. I'll tell you that version separately. But today, I just wanted to give you a quick update that I have decided, after being off Mounjaro for a year, and I will say I did not see that crazy drastic weight gain. And some people have even said to me, hey, if your clothes are still fitting, you're not seeing that your clothes are, your inches are increasing, don't get so caught up in the scale. And I will say they are right. Even though I have not seen the weight loss, meaning the scale go down, my inches are still great. My size that I had gotten down to, which was a 14, is still great. I'm, still able to wear my clothes. I could have, actually, I'm showing on my scale that I've increased my muscle mass. So muscle is heavier than fat, but I found that it's been more and more challenging for me to lose the weight, because technically I want to lose about 25 to 30 more pounds. So that's why I've decided to start on the Wegovy. I know there's a lot of pushback on this. I know that there's a lot of people who say you shouldn't, but let me say this. If you have some health factors that are impacting you, and you're finding that it's challenging, because I will tell you, I will not lie, it was hard for me to make this decision, because I was thinking there was something wrong with me. I'm like, what is going on? Why can't you do what you need to do? But I'm intermittent fasting, I'm working out, and my weight was still basically being maintained within that 5-pound range, but I was still struggling to get back on this drug. I was like, no, I'm not getting back on the drug. No, I'm not. Then finally, after I had my checkup and I was looking at my numbers and I was looking at my cholesterol, and my blood pressure is great. My doctor was like, hey, you really reined that blood pressure in, but my cholesterol levels are still not where they need to be. And one of the things too, you think about, even with me wearing the monitor, I'm thinking about always trying to keep my blood sugar glucose numbers down. I'm always thinking in my head, what do I need to eat to keep my glucose numbers down? Well, if you eat dairy, generally that's not going to increase your glucose. But if you're eating a lot of cheeses and everything, guess what it's potentially going to do? It's going to increase your cholesterol. So you're at this one kind of catch-22 of where you may be trying to constantly keep your glucose numbers down, and you're eating a diet that is doing so, but then you see that it can have an alternate health effect. So that's why I had to make a personal decision. I had to say, okay, tool. There's tools for the toolbox. How can this tool help you? And that's what I decided to do. I decided to start on the Wegovy And like I said, I'll do a separate video telling you how I couldn't get the Zepbound and all the hurdles I had to go through to get the Wegovy. And I decided to start it and see what it's going to do. So I just wanted to give you an update of where I'm at today. I'm going to do another video right after this one to talk about my week 1, 2, and 3 and what's happening. But just to give you an update, continue to follow me if you want to know what this Wegovy journey is like. To see, I think one of the good insights I'm seeing is it says that this Wegovy, these semiglutide type GLP medications help with insulin. So wearing this continuous glucose monitor is going to show me if it is or isn't. So I just wanted to give you a quick update. Like I said, right after this one, I'm going to shoot another video telling you about weeks 1, 2, and 3 and what happened. But continue to follow me on this journey to increase my insulin sensitivity, to reverse my insulin resistance, to no longer be a pre-diabetic, and to see if you're over 50, and in my case, I just turned 60, can we get healthy? Can we do things to implement to make us live longer and have a better life? One of the things about when you're older and you're overweight, it makes it more challenging for you. Trust me, I know, and I don't want to be that person who can't get off the floor or who can't do certain things. So that's why I'm on this journey. And I tell people, you have to make the decisions that are best for you and don't be so influenced by others. And we'll get into the details of the side effects and other things that could possibly happen. And I'll tell you again, I don't plan to stay on this lifetime. Like some people say, I plan to take it as a tool and use it for the next maybe 6 months. We'll see, and go from there. So I'll talk to you later, and I just wanted to give you an update about me being off Mounjaro for a year and deciding to start a journey with Wegovy. Talk to you later.